just your overall experience kind of within the academy.
Yeah, it was. It's interesting, right? Because I kind of got started with my financial education on Twitter, and I started following a bunch of people talking about investing in VU and index funds, and I didn't really know what the heck it meant. I was making a good income. I am making a good income really for the last several years, and have been kind of slowly investing. Right, I started with a Betterment account, was doing like $100 a month and just letting it go. I remember at one point it went from like $1,500 to $900, and I'm like, man, do I need to change my risk here? So I I was really just dipping my toe in the water.
Sure.
But I started following you, and I'll tell you what really brought me to it was you posted the one day, and I don't know if it was your quarterly returns or what, but you made more money than in that quarter than your wife was making annually. I
Crazy.
started
That
poking
was a
around
crazy
on,
time.
yeah, I was poking around on Budget Dog, and you had a free link to a budgeting spreadsheet. I'm a spreadsheet junkie, and I checked it out, set up a call, talked to Kyle, and I don't make impulse decisions very often.
Sure.
Um, but within 10 minutes of talking to Kyle, I'm like, I need to do this. So yeah, so I had a lot of money just kind of in savings. I'm talking six figures.
Wow.
Earned very little. I had the 401k set up, so was doing that. Had an HSA that wasn't invested, and had some 529s. But again, I was doing all of this with really not knowing what I was doing, and I clearly was not set up for long-term success.
Yep. And so over the 6 months, obviously six figures in savings, that's a big win because I'm sure that's been moved out since. But what big wins have you had over that 6 month period?
Yes, so obviously investing in the HSA, and I've been
HSA
blowing
is beautiful,
up.
amazing account. Did you have the HSA before?
I did. I had an HSA before, but it was all cash, and it was with MetLife. And I think I blow you up every Thursday on a Q&A. You got another one coming tonight, but it's just
I got you covered.
so I'm in the rollover process. But yeah, so I mean, my 401k has always been matched. I'm a high compensation earner, whatever they call that. So
Yep.
kind of limited on my contribution, but I do max that out. HSA maxed out the just re-enrollment, so I'm maxing that out. Uh,
Amazing.
I'm paying out of pocket for expenses now. I'm just trying to convince my wife why that's the right thing to do, but she's on. So,
It's hard to convince somebody that that makes sense until you actually understand all the details behind it. Then you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
yes, yeah. And I mean, she has a little bit of a challenge medical history, so I know we're going to need it. That's why I want it to be a massive amount when we're in our 60s, because I know there's going
Yes.
to be some uses there. But I transferred all of my investment account, my tax and brokerage out of Betterment into Fidelity. I put a large chunk of cash into that account, and
Love it.
it's growing like crazy, which is
Amazing.
just phenomenal to see. Um, I can't remember after Q1. So I started in January. So after Q1, 3 months, 4 months in, I think I posted some of my wins, but I reduced my fees significantly.
How
Got
much did you
everything
drop your
down.
fees by?
Well, Betterment was 60 basis points.
Yep, sounds about right.
In my current taxable brokerage now, I think I'm like 0.18.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that's like 50 basis point move.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, and I'm in S&P, I'm in World, and then I'm in bonds, and I think two of them are the Fidelity Zeros. So
Yep. Oh
those
man, that's beautiful. That's amazing. I mean, that's 6 to 7 figures right there. Likely easily 6 figures with your income and your investment amount that you're putting in there. That's awesome. That's a huge win.
and then like the other thing I was doing, right, and thank God for my dad because he said, hey, you start working, set up your 401k, which I did. And I also, I mean, my company has a credit union, so I've been putting a chunk of change in my credit union every pay for 20 years, and that was kind of my emergency fund.
Yep.
And I think you also hit a tweet out there. It's like, would you rather be earning 0.001% in the savings account or whatever it is? So I took all the money. I mean, it was like $360 a paycheck that
Yeah.
was going to this credit union earning nothing. Now that all goes right to my taxable brokerage and Fidelity. Um,
Incredible.
I got a huge chunk of my emergency fund. I probably have more in there than I need, but I do have a big mortgage, and I just a little weary if anything would happen. So that's growing in a high yield. Everything else is going to my automated investments. 529s are in good shape. I have taxable brokerages set it up for my kids. Originally, the goal was to give them to them when they're 18. Um, but I'm a little nervous of their maturity at that
Aren't
level.
we all?
They're
I was
13
18
and
one
20.
time.
Yeah. So I did the compound interest calculation. If I just took it out to 25, the amount of much more money that would be earned for them is substantial. So now
Crazy.
the goal there is to turn it over after 25 when they're in college. Yeah, again, all automated, all set up. Love it.
Wow. Man, that's a ton, that's a ton of wins. That makes me feel awesome that you've been able to do that. Have you calculated your net worth since you came in, or even the beginning of the year, end of the year to current day?
Yes.
What's the increase?
It was all in. Like Q1 was really big because I got a year-end bonus.
Yep.
Uh, but I believe it's grown. I want to say just under 90,000.
Wow. In
Yeah,
6 months.
6 months. Yeah, and like a big part of that was, I mean, my only debt is my mortgage and a student loan. But
Sure.
I paid off 14 grand in my student loan in one shot, and I
Wow.
have a plan to have the rest of it paid off of March of next year. So between that huge bonus I got in January and some big debt drawdowns, Q1 was a big number.
Wow.
And Q2, right, continuing to pay down debt, having my investments grow, really drove that number up. I can't remember exactly what it was. I mean, I can look them up, but I know you're short
That,
on time.
yeah, no, that's nuts. If you think about it, that's a 10-year. Well, no, sorry, that would be 90,000 over 6 months. You times that by two, that's 180. That's essentially millionaire status in 8 years if you started at zero. That's the pace that you're operating at. So like that's just incredible to see. It also doesn't surprise me. I mean, you're focused, you're following the right plan, and like this is the stuff I show people all the time. It's like, guys, if you guys just put this in place, like you'd be surprised at how fast you can move. And becoming a millionaire starting at zero, obviously you started ahead of zero, but let's say you started at zero, somebody out there and they're able to move at 90,000 every 6 months, which is not always doable, but for some people it is, for high income earners. And so the fact that you're moving at that rate is normal, but also crazy to the average person out there thinking, wow, can I really actually do this the right way and actually become a millionaire within 8 years? Yeah, you actually can.
Yeah, and it was crazy to see my net worth over $1 million. Um,
Nuts, nuts.
like, and even when I showed my wife, I'm like, look at this. Like, this is beautiful. Right?
Did you cross the millionaire mark when you were within?
Yes.
Incredible. You need to post that win in the community because people are gonna love that.
Yeah, like I think too, what gets me excited is like the equity in my house is obviously a piece of that net worth, but
Of
it's not
course.
the biggest piece, right? I
Yep.
mean, with all the investment in the retirement accounts, it's that's where the big impact is, and that's great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. So obviously in the beginning, so you said you saw some tweets. So I guess I don't know if you're following me on Instagram too, but Twitter, it's a different, let me, how do I put this? My Twitter audience and my Instagram audience are different type of, people typically. So I talk a little differently to both of them. And I'm curious, what made you take the leap of faith? I know you mentioned the Q2 or whatever the returns I got, but what was like the biggest thing? Like why were you like, why is Budget Dog the right answer?
So I think I've always I feel like I'm a professional student, right? I've always sought out education, whether it was personal growth and just over my shoulder there's a bookcase full of leadership books and things like that. I mean, there's a little bit of an edge to you on Twitter that I like. First of all, I thought you were like 50 with that suit.
I hope my
Oh,
picture didn't imply that.
this guy's like, he's a 20-year CPA. He knows what he's doing. But then you find out like who you really are. And I just submitted my final week wrap up report. And in the comments, I put in there how real you are, and with how vulnerable you are with your family and your situation, but just how you're always positive about everything. I totally relate to that.
I'm a
Um,
Browns fan. I have to be.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can give you props for that, but being in Pittsburgh, but no, I just I know when I'm looking or talking to someone who's present, and
Yep.
you check those boxes really fast, and the
Yep.
fact that you do it with an edge and a zero, zero box attitude, I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, sometimes I push the envelope a little bit on Twitter, I can tell you that. But it's all with good fun, to be honest. It's to make people take action and stuff like that. That's awesome, man. It's great to see the wins, obviously. It's great to have that raw transparency. What would you tell somebody on the sidelines waiting to get their finances in order? They're like, "Man, I really want to fix my finances. Don't know what to do. I feel paralyzed. I feel scared." What would you tell an individual?
Make the commitment, right? Figure out how to pay for it. It will pay dividends in no time.
Amazing.
Like I I can read a book, and I have, right, on long term investing and things like that. But the way the academy is structured, it's very easy. Like
Yep.
I was chomping at the bit to get to the investment piece.
Yep.
I couldn't wait. But when you look at the foundation of just know what you're spending, don't worry about what you're spending, but know what you're spending, and then figure out your budget. I've been a wide nav user for 3, 4 years, and I feel like I'm restarting that budget every 90 days.
Yep.
I've been using
Yep.
your spreadsheet from day one. Again, I'm spreadsheet junkie, but it's just easy, right? It's easy and it works. And when you have a community of people rallying around you from all different financial walks of life, I forget the girl's name. I think it's Elizabeth.
Oh,
Um,
Elizabeth, man. Oh,
like
she's crushing.
yeah, and just like you cannot help but rally around what she's doing. And she has every reason to complain or make excuses on why she can't do it. And she does. She has never once done it. So we
Exactly.
started, I think, a week or two apart. And I've been just privately been a cheerleader for her. And that community, there's something special about it. You don't know what it is until you're in it.
Yep.
And that's a big part of why I would convince somebody to do it.
Man, that's incredible. And thank you for the kind words, but it does mean a lot. Like what we're able to do here, the impact we're able to make. It's really it's what wakes me up every morning.